welcome back. So today is the day after, I guess 2 days after, day after, I can't remember which one. But after the big storm hit the lower US and like the East Coast, and then over here we've just been getting cold and a lot of frost and stuff like that over here. So even though the big, huge weather has passed, for the next few days, we're still expecting the temperature at nighttime to drop into, I think, like the 30s, high 20s, low 30s. So pretty much for the last couple days. So we've been draining our water lines to make sure our water heater and also our water pump doesn't get damaged. Luckily, we're happy that we got the shed built. We got everything into the shed. So all of that stuff is now out of the elements. This big rain cycle was the first rain since we put our shed up. And literally, I think 2 or 3 days before the storm hit, I got all the little spaces filled with the steel mesh, and then got all the gaps spray foamed on top of that. So we didn't have any water leak issues inside the shed. Everything stayed dry. Even though it's not fully insulated yet, it's still very, very warm in there. So it kept everything in there good. So probably over the next week or two, our goal is going to be, we already ran our red PEX line that's in there. I think I have video that you'll probably have already seen it, but I ran the red PEX line. We ended up running extra line from the water pump to Terry because we are going to bury the line underground so that we don't have to worry about it freezing, and we don't have to worry about draining it anymore. And then we just need to get our blue line ran for all the cold water. So we're gonna have to buy that PEX pipe for that, and then the attachments to that as well. But yeah, that will be upcoming videos. But today, I was out here earlier with the kids because they were having their outside time earlier. And so while we've been working on the fence pretty much here and there, you know, just in between all the other projects. We had other stuff that came up, like the shed and all that kind of stuff that just had to get done because of the weather. And so just in between, we've been chipping away at the fence. A lot of it we don't record because it's a lot of repetition, but we still want to make sure that we are updating you guys on the progress and letting you see us work on it a little bit, because pretty much every post that we put in and every set of slots that we put up makes a huge difference. So when I was out here earlier with the kids, yesterday Elijah had tamped in 2, and then we got a third one down to the correct depth. And so I was coming in solidifying a little bit more because right after a rain, after the dirt dries out a little bit, that's the perfect dirt to tamp with. And so I came and tamped them in a little bit more solid, just to the point where I can start putting brackets in them, and then we'll slowly just go back through and continue tamping them down. But currently this is what the fence is looking like. So you guys remember our original 6 that we had in the ground. That's those 3 and these 3. So these are the other 6 that we have put in the ground. So those ones all have their slats attached to them, and we don't have to go back and touch them. This one I still have to stain. Right before the rain hit also, I went through and stained all the slats that were not stained, and then I went through and I stained all of the 4x4s, except for that one. That one's missing this. All the other sides are stained, just not that one. There's a reason why that side didn't get stained, but I wanted to make sure that they were all stained and sealed and had time to dry before the storm hit. So that was another priority that, you know, that we took care of. But pretty much we have a total of 12 posts in the ground with their slats pretty much completed. These 2 are already in the ground. They're partially tamped in there. This one I'll probably be working on this one today. I was going to work on it earlier, but the wind is blowing, and of course it's blowing that way, so it's pushing our string line away from the post. So we have to be very careful about when we actually set the post up, because the string line will move. It'll be fine if it was blowing this way, but we don't have that luck today. The other day it was blowing this way, so. But this one is set to its correct depth. We just need to get it upright and positioned correctly. These 4 are our last 4 from the entire one from that big bulk purchase that we did. So this one doesn't seem like we have to go down that much further. For some reason, that hole is a lot more, is a lot deeper than these ones got with the auger. So we'll just have to chip away with these guys, these last 3, but that's the last 4. And then once we get the last 4 done, we're gonna hop over to start working on our 2 pillars that go up over here. Pretty much this weekend, well, at the end of this week, Elijah is going to pick up our big, huge blocks. These ones are the ones that take the 16 by 12 by 8. So we just need 18 of them to build our 2 pillars up there, like the pillars that we have over on that side. So that will be, we'll be duplicating what's over there. Elijah will pick those up at the end of this week along with some mortar, so then we can get those built, because we can't do any of the front section yet until we have those built up. So we want to get those built and let to give them time to fully set. Once we get those set and up, we are going to head back into town, and we are going to pick up the remaining 18 or 19. I need to go count because I can't remember what they are. We're going to go pick up the remaining 4x4s to finish out the side of the fence line, because that will give me time to prep them. So the motor oil and then the tar on the bottom of them, it will give them a good amount of time to fully get prepped and dried and ready to go. And I think I'm going to do the same thing I did with these ones up here, where we're just going to take the auger. So right now the holes are partially auged. I'm just going to take the auger as far down as it will naturally go. And then all the posts that I prep with the motor oil and the tar, I'll just go through and drop them into all the holes, because I found that it's easier for me to stain them when they're sticking up out of the ground. So I already know, like, and without them being tamped in, because I don't have to wait, and then they're not just sitting there baking in the sun and fully drying out without any protection. So I'm going to go ahead and drop all 19 of those in their holes. And it kind of also, when they're just sitting in the hole, it kind of gives you like an illusion of what the fence line will look like. And so it'll be nice. Also, side note, we're pretty much at the point where, since we're nearing the end of this first 12, where I can start attaching the mesh. So Elijah and I were looking for bulk washers, and so we ended up finding a website online that sells bulk washers, and so we can get a 1,000 count for like $16, and I think they come out to like 9 cents a piece, something like that. But we can get those and get them shipped to us, because we're going to need a lot of washers. And so as soon as those arrive, we already have the mesh. So once those arrive, we can start attaching the mesh to we start attaching the mesh to all of these slat pieces up there, so we can slowly start coming behind ourselves and start closing it in. So the fence is coming along. It may seem like we're moving a little slow with the fence line in video time, just because we're doing so many projects. So, the fence might be 1 week, and then all of a sudden another 3 projects are happening in that same week that we're working on the fence. But with the videos, since really there's only 1 video a week, as far as project videos, you'll see the progress later. So you may see, that we have today, like today, you'll see that we have what I just showed you done, but in real time, by the time you see this, most likely we have all of our other posts being prepped, the remaining 18 being prepped and almost in the ground. So there is a little time gap between our work and then when you see it. And then also there's so many projects going on during the week with us that, you know, that might be 3 different projects that I'm filming. And so they come out in 3 different weeks. So then that pushes what we're working on even further back from you guys seeing it. But we do try and keep you guys updated. Fun fact is that if you guys were to join our Rooted fam, you do get behind the scenes posts and you get real-time updates of like when we actually finish projects. So typically I'll try to accumulate all the projects that we did in pictures for the week. And then every Sunday I kind of do like a little picture recap and just show the members that are part of the Rooted fam what happened that week. So if you guys wanted to, you can go ahead and join that membership. It just keeps you up with real time and it just gives you behind the scenes and like quick little updates. And you get like sometimes little stuff that you get like little pictures of stuff or information that we don't share in our regular videos. So, but yeah, I am going to go ahead and I think since the wind is still going, I think I'm going to attach brackets.